You're just gonna say you didn't want to do it live?
No, I'm just gonna say let's try to focus on the conversation at hand and not chit chats on the thing. That's mostly aimed at Bo.
All right. All right.
I like it when you're engaged. Damn it!
I was engaged with our listeners. All right.
No, you were reading shit and not paying attention. Anyways, and I was also doing that, and it was annoying me when I was doing it to myself.
Commercial break in progress.
Okay, so we got Crofton for like 3 to 5 minutes.
And we're gonna let Crofton watch the hockey game ride. Bo can't read chat. Crofton can watch.
Believe it or not, I can do both. Let's go.
We'll see. We'll see how sad your face looks when they lose.
His outlook on whatever the verdict is switches as the fortunes of the hockey team.
He's like, I give it a verdict of fucking bad. It's the worst thing.
My points are delivered in like a play-by-play-esque fashion, where they're like, so yeah. And speaking of Chinese food, I sometimes really like it, and then it's going really well, and then it's not going as well, and I don't like it as much.
And then I go back for the General Tao, and the General Tao is out, so I go in. Here comes the chop suey. It's out. The chop suey is fresh and warm. I loaded my plate. I'm actually
depressing. You're like, Crofton, are you watching the game? I'm like, no. Why would you think that?
All right, well let's not waste too much time. Do we know who's introing?
John, wait, too late. No, I don't know.
No.
All right. Let's see. Desktop. GBB. Who did the last one? Wealth. I feel like that was me.
That wasn't that. Oh yeah, is that? Yeah, what's the last one?
Wealth was the last one. So
that one was redundant. We should vet our list again. Maybe we were all in too good moods when we went through that list last time. We were like, yeah, good, in.
It's Crofton Steers. I am the McDonald's of this.
Crofton was the last one. He's the McDonald's of podcasting.
What?
Yeah, he's gone. He's watching hockey.
Did I host? I hosted the last one, right?
Yeah, Mike's turn. Sweet. We have a shot at a dignified introduction now because Mike is doing it.
Bam! Me. What do you do when you try to get your voice tuned up?
Re mi fa sol la si do.
The rain Spain falls mainly on the plain.
I know. These pretzels are making me thirsty.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
It was a big salad.
Hang on, I gotta do it. These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Fuck tourists.
You're tuned in to Good Bad or Bullshit Radio 106.7. Don't touch that dial.
Man, there's a couple radio stations that have hosts that every time they talk, I want to punch the radio in my car. Like Shay 106.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Shay most of the time. Oh, yeah.
They really went downhill, though. They didn't used to be that bad, right?
What?
They didn't used to be that bad. Isn't Mahler and Rush kind of okay?
No, they're all terrible, but
Cosmo. Oh yeah.
He's god awful.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely, just horrible.
And even that station's fallen off the rails now. And because I'm usually hoping to listen to classic rock, and it's almost all like hair metal now. It's like it's shifted into the '80s way too much.
Well, it's a sad day. It's a sad day for radio. Sad day for radio in Ottawa, friends of the internet who are watching. Wicked Kitten 13, hello. All right, so I'm banned from reading chat during the show, so we have a more dignified recording. So,
yeah, pay attention. You just imagine it's like if you were having, dinner with people at a restaurant, and you were the guy looking at his phone. Everyone else would be like, "Hey, put it in the basket."
Yeah, Bo. Oh my God. Oh no, sorry.
So all other podcasts, got it. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this shit. You ready to go, Mike?
Crofton needs to. No, I'm still loading this thing up here. And Crofton needs to turn off his hockey game.
Sure, I'll turn it off right now. Here.
If I can't read chat, you can't watch hockey.
Oh my God, they almost scored again.
It's off.
I kind of want Crofton to watch hockey. I think it's funny. I think it adds a dimension of drama to our narrative.
What? I talking about? I don't know.
That's legit. That's not play acting. That's real, isn't it?
My cat is becoming quite elderly, and he doesn't really look it, but he's acting annoying a lot of the time. I might have to banish him to the basement.
3-0 Rangers. Fuck.
Hey, maybe my dad will be right. Maybe he's right. Maybe Ottawa does suck. That's what he's
It's
been
too
telling.
late for them to suck, though. That's
I
the
also
problem.
like how
They're too
how
far now.
how he jumped on their bandwagon, like in that text, like after 2 games,
Yeah.
and now it's
How,
going bad.
how
It's like,
did
I
you see
hate
that?
Sens. They're the worst.
Yeah,
He won't
it's
he won't be long to jump back off it
oh
though.
no, he wants to get out. Oh God, Anderson, come on.
Cat. The cat is meowing at me because
Oh,
essentially he wants me to sit on the chair and sit on my lap, and because I'm in this other chair, it's not comfortable for him. So he'll meow for an hour and a half is what he'll do.
I like how I'm banned from reading chat, but you guys have cat. And
We haven't started yet,
Talkie.
and I'm trying to think of what I need to do with the cat. Look at him here. So he'll come up on my lap and be
Man,
like, "I want to be cozy,"
it's
but then he
cool.
won't be cozy.
It's cool. I'm cool with the cat being a thing, you know.
No, I don't mind. It's just he'll just meow in the background forever.
Again, don't mind. Actually, you know what? If he meows a lot, it hasn't been picked up on your microphone. I listened
Really?
back to the episode. Yeah, like I think you have directional somewhat.
Actually, oh, sorry, hold on. I didn't put his lapel mic on. Let me get that on him now. Yeah, that's gold.
Yeah,
Like,
mic him. He could be.
Crofton missed that joke because he was too busy crying about hockey.
I think he's
Texting
tweeting now
guy.
too. That looks like a phone.
He's texting, and watching hockey at the same time. He's
Like
the worst.
recording podcast, y'all, and crying boohoo
I'm
Sens.
just texting my brother about that sad sack attempted to cat saved by Anderson.
Yeah, he missed my
Anyways,
sweet joke.
yeah, I'm sure it was amazing.
It
Okay,
was
can
about
we?
a lapel mic on my cat. You would have laughed. See, he's even laughing. He didn't even get the context. Where is a cat's
great.
lapel? That's what I want to know. All right, let's just do an episode here.
Really? Looks like it's the rectum again.
Can you hear his purring?
Oh yeah, bring it in, Snoopy.
Maybe Snoopy will just do this whole show for me instead.
Snoopy is the friendliest cat in the universe. He's the best.
He's a nice
He's
fella.
my favorite cat in the world. I love Snoopy.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's.
All right, Mike says he's ready. Let's do this. Good, bad, or bullshit. Mike's Crofton, we can see your face. You're not making noise, but you're like, it's super hilarious. All right, good, bad, or bullshit. 190 it starts in 5, 4. 2.
Hello, good day, and welcome to the Good, Bad, or Bullshit podcast. Random topics, unrehearsed conversation, and then quality reviews. That's what we do here on this show. I'm one of your 3 hosts. My name is Mike Hodgins, along with Mr. Bo Schwartz. Hello, Bo.
Hello, Michael. It's a pleasure to be back and to be speaking with you and our audience.
Oh, yes, very good. And Mr. Crofton Steers. Crofton, how are you faring today?
Hey guys, I'll be honest, not great. It's allergy season, and I'm not addicted to cocaine or anything, even though my eyes look like or weed or whatever is legal in Canada right now. It's really just allergies, and they drive me nuts. And I work in a concrete bunker where nothing can really live, and except viruses. And so during the day, I keep thinking to myself, "Oh, it's fine," but as soon as I leave, I mean, brutal.
Oh, that's too bad.
Wow, what a sob story.
I've never suffered
Jeez.
from those.
I know, and people, like, I used to think like, oh, allergies, oh, I'm really resistant because I don't have allergies, but it's like
That's how I feel.
It's one of those things that affect everyone. And I heard that like today in the States, Congress has passed like some sort of bastardized Trump healthcare bill. And when I heard an interview with this congressman where he was like explaining how, people who take the steps to be healthy and work out and treat themselves well shouldn't have to burden the who live good lives, is what he said, shouldn't have to be burdened by the sick, as if just like living good lives means that you are not you're never going to be sick or whatever. And so for me, it's like allergies. It's one of those things where I looked at and I was like, oh, people who have allergies, God, what are they doing wrong? But I realize you can't do shit for allergies.
No, there's lots you can't do stuff about. Like, oftentimes if you're like a kid who gets cancer, should have just lived a better life, kid. Should have
a longer life.
I'm surprised neither of you guys said May the 4th be with you.
Lame.
Star Wars Day.
Lame. I hate May the 4th.
Really?
It's
I
a
like
pun.
Star Wars.
It's not based on anything. I like Star Wars movies.
What world do you live in, Bo? You live on the internet. You should be all about this shittiest type of humor.
Well, you're not wrong. Actually,
it's true.
You kind of got me there.
Think about all the leverage, all the power that's come out of a pun. I think this is actually might be one of the most powerful puns that's ever existed.
The problem is I live too much on the internet, and it's too like 5 minutes ago for me. Like it's so like. You guys care about this?
Not,
like,
yeah. You wouldn't Snapchat it or whatever.
That's right. I wouldn't give it a single Snapchat. It's true.
Oh, it's funny. I was thinking about you guys the other day. So at work, they brought in this consultant to do a personality test to everyone in the directorate. It's pretty common. You can access it online. It's called the DISC. And there's like enhanced DISC and all that, and and there's 4 personality types: D, I, S, and C, and they all have different attributes. But part of the course is they identify you, and then they help you how to identify the attributes in other people. And so immediately they were like think of people and think about what personality types they were. And you guys were like 2 of the first people I thought of. I was like, because they said if you can identify their personality type, and pretty much everyone fits some variation of these 4 to different levels, then like you'll be able to determine what they want and that sort of stuff. I was like, man, there's got to be information I can pull from this test that's going to allow me to school Bo and Mike in debate during a GBB episode. But we'll see.
No.
Unlike also those things my wife took one of those not too long ago, and back when I was an office person, I took those as well. There was like one was like the green, red, blue, yellow, or whatever personality test.
Yeah, I haven't done that one.
I listened to this podcast quite a while ago now. I can't remember what podcast it actually was, but it makes me think that all that stuff is bullshit. Is the most.
I don't think so, man.
Here's the reason. Because there's actually, and of course I can't remember the term, so it'll sound completely pointless, but essentially the podcast started with them saying actually, we're going to get into the podcast here, and we've just been doing a little bit of research on our listeners, some demographics, and we've actually pulled out some kind of stats to describe our listenership, and they went over it, and I was like, yeah, actually that's me pretty well on. They're like, if they think this described you, that's because you've kind of been taken by a psychological mechanism, which is how horoscopes work. And it's essentially that most people, if you give people a sets of things, you can insert yourself into pretty broad categories, and it's beyond the point of it being statistically significant. So people can always find a slot to be like, yeah, I'm like this, but it's sort of just bullshitty, and it's something we do as human beings to kind of like simplify things. So I'm like, meh, those personality tests. I'm like, yeah, it's like you get 4, and you're like, yeah, sure, you can put anyone into one of those 4. It's like,
that's what's so interesting.
I don't like it when people lie to me.
You can read any given horoscope and be like, sure.
I don't like it when people lie to me. I fit in.
I had a whole printout done for me with and it says Crofton likes this, does not like that, likes working with people like this. This is
that's exactly what a horoscope is.
This is what motivates him. But it was friggin' dead on, the whole thing. I was pretty impressed.
But I mean, there's so many
horoscopes aren't dead on. They tell me I'm dead tomorrow or that.
Anyways, I'll look it up later, but there's a term for this thing, and it's essentially if you present people with lists of things, especially when they're positive in nature, and you'll be, you're an independent thinker and self-motivated, and you hear these, you're like, yeah, actually, no, that's me, and that's just something that humans do. So
but
that's
why all positive things. They present them positively because they don't want you to see they're negative attributes, and people can infer what those are. But there's positive ones for each one. But I know I'm not there's one category that's organized, accountant type, really focused on tasks, really meticulous and all that. I know that that's not me. If it had come up me, I would have been very, very surprised. And the category that is more me is very much me if you read it. So I recognize that it's not a science, and that people can be boiled down to these things. They're just giant buckets that allow you to identify how people like to work, and it is very interesting because
the point is
right off there were people on my team that I was like, oh man, this person is primary like this and secondary like this, and I had not really noticed that before, but now that it's pointed out to me, I'm like, holy shit, that makes perfect sense.
Okay, so there's a very important point to this kind of training. It isn't a science in order to categorize people and identify them. They're tools for you to manipulate them. This is sociopath training. All customer service is, because it's based on, accomplishing specific goals regardless of context. So very important to asterisk that, accurate or no, the whole point is to work better with people. And,
but
it's
then more specifically, Crofton, so who is Bo and who is me?
Yeah.
Oh, Bo is definitely, so of the 4 categories, the main categories of a disc, D is dominant, I is influencer, S is steady, and C is calculated or something like that. Anyway, Bo was definitely, of us all, the most D, dominant. Like, it's got to be Bo's way.
You heard it here first, folks. I have the most D.
Yeah, no, it's
Bo
for sure.
likes D.
Bo likes D for sure. He's the most, like, his way or the highway.
Yep, come on, we have to pick a random topic soon. Go faster.
But he makes good decisions, or like he makes decisions quick. Where somebody like me will him and ha and be like, oh, let's get consensus and take forever. So like there's upsides and downsides to that.
So which one am I?
Steady, for sure. Which is the nice guy one, if you want to call it that. And I'm I.
Such a curmudgeon on this show.
I'm I, which is the influencer one.
So, just in case you're wondering, it's the best of them.
I don't want to say it's the best, but you can infer that.
All right, let's get to a random.
Yeah, I think that those things are true in different contexts, and that we're not stuck to one. Because on this show, I talk and you guys talk over me all the time, but on the other show, I do. That doesn't happen. So I'm like maybe I'm a D here, but I'm a F somewhere else, So.
Definitely are a D.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. Pull the random topic generator, Mike. Let's see what we get. There we go. The diesel-powered wonder of engineering at our fingertips.
How is that such an S?
I think I might be a little quiet.
No, we're just talking over you.
Okay.
This is an interesting topic because I know the Bo is an expert on it. The topic is microwavable foods or convenience foods.
Oh, well, let me, what is it, dispose you? Let me dispel you. Let me disabuse you. That's the word I want. Let me disabuse you of that statement. I haven't owned a microwave in 10 years.
Is that a word?
So what have you been eating? Popcorn?
I
Chips?
use a thing called an oven and a stove to make food. I do not own a microwave.
Convenience foods? Let's be honest, is it convenience?
Oh, I'm sure they're boxed and full of salt, plus, I don't know, frozen bull semen to make
like, is it a box? Is it a box of something frozen that says cook for 20 minutes and turn halfway?
Yeah. That's real food, though.
Everything takes 20 minutes to cook in the oven.
It's not 20, it's 40 to 60. You get those really good Saint Hubert chicken pot pies. So good. You can save it for later. Put it back in the oven. I don't microwave. I don't reheat food in a microwave.
But when you lived in that apartment building, you pretty much ate pizza pops.
There was a time when my diet consisted solely of pizza pops. It's true. There was a time, but that was many years ago.
Are they good? I mean,
as a different man, you're dredging up my shameful past here on the show.
I spent much of my early 20s eating terribly. Which is to say, I consisted a lot on frozen pogos, which you put in the oven for 90 seconds. I still recall. Wrap it in a paper towel, put the pogo in the microwave oven. Hey, nice little snack. And pizza pockets of various sorts.
For our American listeners, that's corn dogs, I believe. They don't know what pogos are.
Well, I think pogo is still a brand name down there, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's a corn dog.
Yeah.
It's a hot dog wrapped in a
something
sweet, delicious batter
in cardboard.
I don't know what it is, but I ate a lot of them, and I mean, I think of it as me eating shit is what I think of when I think of convenience foods. Okay. But I put it in the microwave for 90 seconds, and then I was eating the pogo. So It was
So, question: is this topic microwave the device, or is it the type of foods that you microwave?
No, because you can use microwaves for industrial,
No, it's
I think,
convenience
applications.
foods.
So we don't want to. We don't want to talk about microwaves themselves.
Why are you like cooking
Oh,
your Are you like cooking your filet mignon in the microwave?
no,
Pretty
but
much anything you're gonna cook in a microwave is probably not good food.
no. That's not true. I reheat leftovers all the time in the microwave. It's
Leftover pizza
I'm
pops.
no, I'm just saying that microwaves are. If we're talking about microwaves, they're a tool and that sort of stuff. And you wouldn't necessarily use them all the time.
No.
You use them when applicable. But for me, like they've saved me a lot of time,
Yeah.
and
I mean, reheating stuff, but like microwavable foods that you buy.
yeah.
That then
Okay,
you can
so
just
we're talking about
cook.
like so does that
Convenience food.
now the only convenient food I think that I regularly buy right now are frozen pizzas. Like pizzas that are there's this grocery store chain. I don't know if it's just local to Ottawa or Canada. It's called Farm Boy, and they have this in-house brand of frozen pizzas, and they're pretty good. And so my wife and I will get those, and we stick them in the oven or whatever and cook them. But so we don't use a microwave to cook the entire frozen pizza. But aside from that, I've never actually like I will go into like a diner and have a pogo or have like chicken fingers or whatever. But for the most part, I won't go to the grocery store and buy it and then like microwave it. So I've never even like when I ate poorly, that was not my poison, pick your poison. That wasn't it for me.
Yeah, I think I've definitely enjoyed pogos in the microwave, pizza pops especially. And you know what's fun about pizza pops? We can microwave them right in the box, and you got a plate. You just you tear the one side of the. So because I don't like doing dishes, you can take the box they come in and tear off the like one side of it, and then they make like a bowl shaped plate so they don't fall out, and you cook them right in the box.
Are you supposed to put cardboard in the microwave?
Sure, why not? What's the worst that could happen?
Oh God!
Just metal you can't put in.
Yeah.
That's
I don't. Who knows if there's metal particulate in the box product that they have, but I think I'm fine. Maybe in the ink.
I just find like I mean I'm not sure if you guys watch The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Sometimes he would pull out like one of the most ridiculous made in America microwavable junk food products, like, and it would be like Cheese Whiz inside of a pretzel inside of like a hot dog or whatever. Like it would be.
Wasn't there bacon mayonnaise or something like that?
Yeah, the bacon. Yeah, it would always be like the most like crazy crap, and I always remember thinking that that's like circling the drain as a society, almost like the idiocracy, Donald Trumpism. Like this is that stuff. I lump it all together, and it's not like I'm a super healthy food guy. I'm totally not, but like the type of foods in the frozen section, I'm not big on it. I'm not sure, are they more affordable? Because that's like I'm trying to think of positives here of these types of foods, and I think like, well, they probably last longer, like through nuclear holocausts and stuff like that, and they may very well likely be less expensive. And I know, Bo, you've told me in the past that like when it comes to produce, you pretty much don't buy fresh produce. And I was like, God, you don't need vegetables? And you said, oh no, I do, just frozen or whatever, or like preserved. So like I'm wondering if they're just overall this type of food is cheaper than
well, it
buying
is
fresh
cheaper
food.
in the long run to buy a bag of frozen vegetables than it is for me to buy produce, because I end up throwing out 60% of it because it goes bad before I use all of it. As I don't have a family, I'm not making big meals. Like I can't buy a thing of carrots. I'll have one carrot, I'll use it on something and save it, and then it'll go bad, and those take a long time to go bad, and they'll still go bad. And so it just makes me feel bad. So at least if it's frozen, I feel like I'm not throwing money down the drain. When I need corn, I have corn, so.
Yeah, and all those are arguably, I guess, included in the convenience foods. I would think of anything in that area of the grocery store that the nutritionists tell you to avoid. They're like, stick to the stick to like the produce and like fresh meat sections and avoid the frozen section and the boxed dry goods section. And I feel like my wife cooks almost always like from scratch, and she's a good cook. And I am left to my own devices, kind of like almost wholly a convenience food person. Like I would easily any day be like, oh, I'm gonna put, Captain Highliner's frozen fish slabs in the oven, and then some French fries, and then hey, I got fish and chips. That's convenience cooking, and the reason that I do that is because of just if I don't have the time to cook, or don't have the desire or time to cook, it's just easy. And so many times I just will have other priorities in the day or things that I would rather do.
That's a good point. Is you don't have the and I'm like you. I don't have the desire to I don't take enjoyment in the preparation of food, and I don't think any of us do really, because my friend Eric loves cooking for groups. I'm not into that. So for me, it's like I want to get food that's pretty good into my belly as quick as possible. Yeah. So how am I going to do that?
And I mean, I'm more for sure more like you. I'm busy enough with stuff or whatever that I just, because I do like cooking. I'll occasionally like to cook I don't know, a big chicken with carrots and potatoes and things on the sides or whatever. But I need for me to do that, I need a ton of time. I can't just whip that up. I'm not like that. If I'm gonna cook something that's good, like a nice big piece of meat and a bunch of nice sides, and it's in the oven and you've prepared them and seasoned everything well, for me that takes hours. It's pretty much only will happen. It's like a rainy Sunday and it's 1 PM, and I'll be like, I don't have much to do right now. And then I'll be like, maybe I'll cook a big roast or something, and I'll look up a recipe, and then I'll go to the grocery store, get the ingredients, and spend all afternoon chopping up. And I really love doing that. But it took me half the day. And it's and I would be like, yeah, if that's all I did, I could get behind that. But I feel like most of us, any given day, you go to work or you're getting home at 5:30 or 6. It's tough sometimes to put time into good cooking, and it's pretty easy to put a frozen pizza in the oven, which I have a couple in my freezer right now. We don't eat them. I mostly eat well because my wife does love cooking and can kind of whip things together. But if you're not that kind of person who just whips up ingredients into some kind of awesome dish that's made out of healthy things, if you need a recipe and you need to plan, it's hard to do that in half an hour. So that's kind of my problem. So I've definitely used a lot of the convenience foods.
Yeah, that's my problem too, is I don't get it together quick. I belabor it. It is always a, big hour to 2 hour ordeal when I cook anything.
Well, I remember one time, Bo, you came to my apartment. This is years ago, and you were into this. You had this Jamie Oliver app or something like that.
Yeah.
And you made this pasta with sausage stuff, and it was good.
Yeah.
But I remember it was it took you a while to do it, and you had to make a trip to the grocery store first to get the ingredients, and you had the recipe in hand. And that's exactly how I cook too. And it's good, but you need to have that time.
What's funny about that recipe is that in the Jamie Oliver app, it was under the 20 minutes or less section of it. And it was I gotta go to the grocery store and I gotta cut all the ingredients and make them fresh. It's man, are we ever gonna eat, Bo? I'm still getting it ready. It's super important, but it's supposed to be a 20-minute meal, right? And I'm clearly not for me.
That's the same thing with me too. And it's yeah, sure, if I have all the ingredients laid in front of me, I'm yeah, I could maybe do it in 20 minutes or half an hour too. But I mean, I spend half an hour finding a recipe for something because I'm well,
what was great about that pasta sauce actually is that you didn't cook it. You mixed it all together and then you steamed the noodles, and the noodles would cook the sauce. And so it's always nice when you make food that doesn't require it to be. There's nothing worse than overcooked eggs or overcooked anything. The literally ingredients can cook other ingredients, which is an interesting concept. But anyways, talking about microwave food though.
I find when you talk about this type of food, the period of time in people's lives that jumps right to mind is college, because that's the time where, like, okay, so you've been nurtured your whole life or whatever, you're growing up, your mom's taking care of you and all this sort of stuff, and then you're thrown out into the wild, you live by yourself. I know Mike and I lived together, and I remember one of my big things was ham sandwiches, because that was extremely easy. I got bread, I got lettuce, I got cheese, I got ham, little mayo, boom, cooking with gas. But when I wanted to make something, one of the big things that Mike and I would have was that Lipton had these like sidekicks, which is essentially fancy craft dinner to the most part. Like,
I love those.
yeah, it was like we would have the bacon carbonara one, which was essentially like noodles, whatever. You added milk, you added butter, you cooked it in a pot. And then you took whatever, 12, 15 minutes. And often with supper, I would be like ham sandwich, bacon carbonara, Lipton thing. Like that was my thing. And Mike had a bunch of it as well. And we had a roommate, Cody, who was really big into, like, he would be into food preparation, and he would sometimes do these big meals and all this sort of thing. But we were totally the other way. And afterwards, as you grow as an adult, you learn how to make some meals, some of us more than others. And maybe you take a growing interest in it and you move away from these meals. But they do provide kind of like, they are of varying nutritional quality. They're generally never great, but like some are worse than others, obviously. And they do provide kind of training wheels into the world of like culinary cuisine for some people. I know chefs around the world are cringing when I say that, but bear in mind that people don't just immediately become chefs. They have to learn somewhere. They have to get the taste for some stuff. And like, honestly, like the first bacon carbonara type thing I ever had was that Lipton friggin' sidekick.
And and they're still kind of tasty. I haven't had one of those in probably a decade. But I'm like, now that you mentioned, I'm like, oh yeah, I go for one of those big carbonara things. They're pretty good. But it's also funny, like I realized that I had one of these in some ways well, it didn't seem annoying to me at the time, childhood, where my mom basically did the cooking. It was like sort of super traditional. My mom would cook meals for us, and I'd be like, I don't want to cook when I was a kid, and I would just go and eat dinner, and then I'd go play video games or play outside or do whatever the hell I was doing as a kid. And I never thought about cooking, and I never learned those skills from her because I didn't want to when I was a kid, and I don't think she cared that much to try to get me. This is no fault on her. My mom's a great mom, but like, I didn't learn those skills from her because I was just engaged in other things. And then that kind of followed me into, it's funny, like you say, college, like for sure college. And then I also think of like the time of my life after college when I was like I played a lot of video games. And I think of like, I had a lot of video times where you're playing, you're into some gaming session. And then it's like, I go throw a pogo in the microwave, I'm back in 90 seconds, and then I keep playing the game for another 3 hours. Like, I spent a lot of time doing stuff like that too, where you're just like, and again, it didn't even have to be like gaming, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's more like if you're engaged in anything else, it just enables you to keep doing it. So it could be something really productive as well. You're doing something, you're enjoying it, you like it. Do you really want to take 3 hours off to cook a big pot roast with all the fixings, or do you want to just put something in the microwave and then get back to the thing that you're passionate about or whatever? And that's the allure and utility of convenience foods, but for sure they're shittier, like, for you.
I had a really busy week this week, like at work. It was just crazy, crazy busy, and I'm, believe it or not known for bringing my lunch. And so I didn't even have time to go downstairs. So I'm just working. I'm in and out of meetings, and I'm not eating. And then one day it's noted that I'm sort of not eating, and one of my colleagues like made lunch for me at home and brought it in and made like a pity lunch.
Oh, that's nice.
What?
I had a coworker do that for me too. Actually, it's nice.
Thanks, Val. If you're listening, thank you.
Colleague or underling?
It was great, and
because I'm like, I don't know.
Now here's the deal though. If you ever go into the frozen section, and I see a lot of people making their lunches like this, there's these like, what is him, Hardy Man or like or Hungry Man and all these,
it's Hungry Man. It's the Hungry Man's.
Well, they have a lot of like these individual TV dinners, I think is what they call, and like it's for me, it's a generational thing. At one point, I think TV dinners were a big deal, but there's still people that buy a bunch of these and then bring them in for lunch. And I know that they have dubious nutritional value compared to fresh food. So you've got like often like
the nitrates, man.
You got a piece of meat and you've got green peas and you've got other sort of stuff.
I've had one of those in the oven before.
But it's like you get them and then you can just bring them, like they're in portable containers, you bring them in and then you have a lunch and then you eat and you take the time to eat, and hopefully that there's some like nutritional benefit there. Of course, you don't want to be just eating these things, but like the fact that they're there that allow busy people time to eat at all, I think is a pretty good thing.
It is again, it's the utility of it. I'm still not sure what I think about these whole things. I've eaten a lot of them. I am the type of person who they appeal to, but I also think of them as like, for sure because they're full of preservatives, and a lot of them will try to put the vegetables in it, but like it's not the way I would even make vegetables. And I'm not like a good cook, but if I'm cooking a recipe that has vegetables in it, it's like there's lots of vegetables in it, but oftentimes you get these little TV dinner things, like ones that you try to get healthy. Like I had like this one that was like a Thai something or other. I'm like, oh, this will be good, and it's like these little like tiny little pieces of like vegetables throughout, and you're like, it's not food made with care. It's food made in an assembly line. So it's like it's never going to be great food. It's going to feed you. And was I telling you guys recently about this thing called Soylent? It's like human kibble.
Did we talk about it in the show?
You
I can't
mentioned
remember. I heard about it on
I'm pretty sure it was on the show.
Yeah, we might have.
Yeah, and I heard about it on the Stuff You Should Know podcast. They did an episode on it, and this had always appealed to me as someone who would just be like, sometimes I just need to feed myself. I'd rather just drink this stuff, and it exists, Soylent, nutritionally balanced or whatever, and then get on with my day, rather than eat this kind of stuff that's in some ways pretending to be good food. Because none of this stuff ever compares if you go to a good restaurant and order the same thing, right? Even a pizza.
Although restaurant stuff is often doused in fats and shit that other shit.
But it's also prepared fresh and by someone who probably knows what they're doing.
Sure.
And that, I think, makes half the difference. It's just like and the preservative aspect. And the other negative thing I wanted to say about it was packaging. If you eat these things all the time, like and the portions are generally small because they're kind of lunch portioned, and it's like plastic bowl, disposable, in a box with the little sheet. Like if you eat these every day, you're just like throwing shit out constantly. Whereas if you go to the grocery store and buy produce and meat or whatever, cook it on your pots and pans at home, eat it on your dishes, it's like there's only the packaging of the meat, or if you're in the produce section, you can just put a handful of peas into your shopping cart or whatever and then pay for them. So that's the downside. I think all the packaging around
Do you think we're just like on a stepping stone to a place where we can get those convenience foods that are healthy with few health impacts? Like, is the very nature of making food this way have to be with preservatives, therefore it has to not be good for the human body? Because I think ultimately, if you take out that aspect of the debate and say, like, if you want to eat something made with TLC, you can have it. And if you want to have convenience food, you can have it. Who cares? It's just preference. But I think the issue with the microwavable foods is that it does have a health impact on people. It is not good for you. There's a reason for it. And I can't think of all the reasons right now. But like long-term consumption of foods this way, even if it's only for your lunches, does have a negative health impact on people.
Well, I think Mike said like if you always or a lot, like if you're always eating these things, if you're always and Bo talking about the long term, like to me that's true. Like there's clearly negative, like we talk about nitrates, we talk about things, we talk about packaging, all of that is true. So for where I'm torn is I mean, there is value to these things. We've talked about the convenience. We've talked about like training wheels and getting you into food maybe even you wouldn't have tried otherwise. The ease of use, all of that sort of stuff. And then on the other hand, you've got like if you eat just this stuff all the time, you're going to have negative health impacts. Like I know Mike says he eats quite a bit of it. Bo might eat quite a bit of it, but is that, this odds are it's not all you eat. It's more of an exception than a rule. In which case, I think it's like, it's neat that these things are there. It's if it becomes a rule that I have an issue with. If this is like okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I got my menu planned and it's all coming from the freezer section of the Loblaws or the food, whatever. That's probably going to have long-term negative health implications, even if you're having the peas and the whatever and vegetables.
And I would say if I cook some that's like, I put it in the oven and it's done in 20 minutes, whatever it is. The other day we had chicken burgers, shitty chicken burgers. My kid likes them, and I don't mind them or whatever, in the oven. And it's a convenience food, and it was like one of these days of like, didn't have a lot of time, so we just threw those in the oven. But I never feel, and even though I have eaten a lot of this food, and I often like it enough, I don't ever feel good about having made it, really. Like, I'm always not. It's like, it's not really cooking. I put the thing in the oven. Whereas those times when I was describing earlier, like if I have, it's a rainy Sunday and I got the all afternoon and I don't have anything planned and I make a big dinner, I usually feel really good after I've done it, and usually during it too, because it's like afterwards I found the recipe, I'll put some music on or whatever, start cooking. I have a good time and I really enjoy it. But the key difference, and I think part of the issue around this whole convenience food topic, is in the time. And it's like, and I feel like we all live, for whatever reason, one reason or another, these lives of like, we never have enough time, right, to do everything we want to do. And I would just be like, my ideal would just be like, if my life was more relaxed, where there was more built-in time every day to just be like, okay, I have a couple hours to get some food together. What do I want to eat? And then I have time to go to the grocery store or whatever. I feel like my life would be better if I could live like that. But it's not realistic for most people. I mean, you wouldn't have to do it every day because you might split it up with your spouse or whatever. But I mean, to me, that would be the more ideal, is to not feel like I need convenience foods. And a lot of these things are my own choosing, that I'm like, oh, I'm busy doing this and I want to do it, and that's my own choosing. But I feel like probably would be better if I just had a little bit more balance in terms of like work and hobbies or whatever, to take a little bit more time away from them, to be like, oh, cooking, make a good meal. But we live in the fast-paced modern lifestyle, and it doesn't afford a lot of time for slowing down, take an afternoon, think about what you want to eat,
And work.
Usually when you make me like that,
you're talking about leisure activities and hobbies. I'm distracted by all this stuff, but for the most part, the day that you have time to work to do your big meal is a weekend day, because during the work week, doesn't matter what your job is, like generally you come back and you're like, I'm tired, and potentially hungry. I just want to get this done, I just want to. And so
no, I know, and that's like the whole point. But I felt like that I was saying that was kind of like that's part of my whole issue, is that the work week doesn't afford you that time to do that. And I find now that I have a little kid, it's that much tougher, where it's like the time, and I am off with him some of the time. So in theory, I should be doing some of this cooking, but it's amazing how much like time it eats up to be with like a toddler all day. And sometimes he'll be having his nap and be like, now's the time I would go to the grocery store and get the thing I need, but I don't have the ingredients for this recipe. I guess I'll just put fish sticks in the oven or whatever the hell, And that doesn't always happen, but because cooking is not something that comes naturally to me, or that I'm naturally passionate about, I need that extra time to do it, and I just wish I had it. I guess that's my bottom line. Like, I wish we didn't need convenience foods. I wish there was just, we all worked a bit less, had a bit more time, and balanced our lives better, so that, and I is a self-criticism too, to be like, I should stop usually what I'm doing an hour ahead of time, and think about it and make a healthy meal. And I will almost always feel better if I do that than if I would just be like, put the pogo in the oven, eat it, and get back to what I'm doing. I mean, there was a time in my life where I would have felt better doing that, but now that I'm older, I think I appreciate the nice meal more. Not every day, because I'm not that much of a cook, but a couple times a week it would be good for me.
Bo, I have a question just for you, just because what Mike said resonated to me a little bit, especially having the toddler and balancing all that. And we're making a meal for three, 2 adults and a kid and all that. So it affects what we buy. It affects how we approach stuff. It affects how we organize ourselves and stuff. As a single guy who just has to worry about himself, and you come back, you're still tired from your workday and all that, but being lazy on a meal doesn't penalize anybody except yourself, really. Sure. Like, are you more like? Are you more likely to go that option, like get like a convenience food, or are you more likely to be like, well, I don't have a toddler pulling on my leg, so I'm going to take the time to make a big meal? Like, what's your?
I mean, I'm back and forth. It depends on the time that I have in the day. I'm more likely to make better stuff for myself on the weekend, but mostly I eat convenience foods, I would say, just because I want to get back to whatever it was I'm doing. I live by myself, so there's literally no ritual around eating. Like, you guys have families, so dinner time is the time for everyone to catch up and chat. Dinner time is just, well, I feel a little pain in my stomach. I want to make that go away. So sometimes it's a smart choice. Like at the Metro near us, Crofton, they make those sandwiches, those wraps. Those aren't bad. It's fresh ingredients in there for the most part.
Yeah,
Maybe the pita bread's, questionable, but nothing fast foody about it.
Nope.
Or I'll buy there's the herb and spice here or whatever. Like, I'll pick up fruits and vegetables if I intend on eating them that day. I don't maintain a big balance of groceries in my house, especially unless it's frozen goods, because it goes bad unless I want it that day. But I'm very fortunate that there's a place across the street to buy fruits and vegetables, and there's a place down the road to pick up meat. Like, it's very...
Yeah, so, I guess.
Although I will say true. Right now, my poison that I do have is I'll go to the grocery store and I'll get a nice steak. Completely fresh, those nice, good steaks. And then I'll buy 3 packs of ramen noodles and have like a gorgeous steak and a pile of shit ramen noodles.
Wait, how do you cook?
Ramen noodles would be one of those things. I didn't even think about them when we were talking about these instant foods, but like I guarantee huge business.
Yeah.
You put boiling water
it's
into
like 49
them. How do you cook your steak? You don't have a barbecue.
Frying pan for about 30 seconds.
Frying pan. Isn't that like terrible for...
It's terrible if you're cooking it. I sear the outside and the inside's mostly raw. So it warms it up and keeps the flavor, but it's juicy and delicious.
Steak.
I think I'd be like Bo though. Like if I was by myself and all that, I would be focusing on what's easy, what can I consume quickly and move on. And to that end, I would appreciate those meals because I don't have a love for cooking. And like, yeah, I don't mind doing it. Like when you're explaining it, the bells and the whistles and taking the time and getting the ingredients. Look, if I do that every once in a while, I'll feel good about it or whatever that one time as I would a special event, like a special occasion. But doing it regularly, I know myself, it would just annoy me. And if I was by myself in particular, having things that are tailor-made to just me, one individual I can go in. I mean, I think I would appreciate that. I'm in a different space where I'm looking to do a meal for a family, and so it's different. I'm going to go away from that.
It's expensive fast food, but honestly, steak is the best. Like any beef product, except for like a roast beef or something, because you actually don't have to cook it for very long. If you sort of get, I had well, you guys know Danny. We worked with him at CCTS. He's a trained chef before he came to work with me at the place I just mentioned. And I don't know why I don't think I've ever mentioned on the show. I was like, and
day job confirmed.
So he taught me how to cook steak on a frying pan to make it taste good, and just like don't cook it. Like you literally sear the sides and then that's it. It cooks itself and you eat a little raw and it's delicious and juicy. And that's true of like eggs. Eggs you cook for like 30 seconds, like until they start to solidify, then take them off if you're doing scrambled eggs. Even if you're not doing scrambled eggs, you don't have to cook it. And it's like, it's this weird thing because it's like, oh, microwave, I cook a pizza pop, it takes 3 minutes. That's how long it literally takes to cook steak or eggs or some of the stuff you can buy that's normal. So I find that's why I combine a lot of the two. I'm like, sweet, I want a quick meal. I'm going to buy a steak and ramen noodles because both are cookable. It takes longer to cook the ramen noodles than the steak. And I need to find something that I can cook as fast as the steak.
And it's true that those things are like, but if you're cooking something like my wife will often make a risotto, but she'll make like a risotto from scratch, and it takes quite a while. Like
Yes.
You know, if you buy a packaged risotto, it takes 20 minutes, but it takes a lot longer. She's doing things with like, you know, lemon peel and all these different spices and maybe like saffron in it for God's sakes, and it's like it'll be good, but it takes a lot longer for sure. I mean, okay, for me, I'm about ready for verdicts. I don't know what you guys are thinking here, but I could say I know what I'm going to land on this.
I'm down for verdicts too. Crofton.
Yep. Let's do it.
I think Crofton's going to be leaning negative on his verdict today.
Yeah, the hockey game appears to not be going.
Oh, you broke the fourth wall. I wasn't going to say anything. We're just going to tease him. Okay.
Hey, I can see he's watching TV.
All right, here we go. Here comes the
You can't see nothing. I turned it off, right?
Order, I said.
I would just say that unless my animated description of that cooking was providing the type of reflections that I could see on your face, I'm very surprised. It was probably a hockey game that was playing on the screen. But anyways,
potentially, I'll go first. So
it's commercial. Let's get it over.
I hate it. No. I found this topic kind of interesting. And it made me self-reflect quite a lot about like both my food choices and like food choices throughout my life, how I am as a person, how I would be if my situation was different, you know? And like, I recognize that most of these instant or quick cooking meals are not great for you. There are obviously a wide scope, and I talked about the type that circled the drain of humanity earlier, and on the other end you've got stuff that's trying to be nutritionally balanced. I know like Weight Watchers and all sorts of stuff have like convenience foods you can buy, and I get why. Like convenience is big and people's time is valuable, and I agree with what Mike's saying that it'd be really great like if we had the time in our lives to balance them properly, including our cooking and our cuisine. And I know dietitians would tell us, oh, you know, it's very important to have a balanced meal. But like, I mean, for me, cooking it's never been a priority, and I like having the option. I like that option is there. It means that I'm not going to take advantage of it all the time, that convenience food option, but I'm glad that it's there. So because of that, I can't necessarily say that it's bad, even though I would never want to like just eat nonstop convenience food. But on the other hand, like, I mean, there's a lot of negative, and Mike did a good job of like talking about the waste, talking about the long-term health effects, the fact, the nitrates, the way that these things are put together. So because of that, I'm going to just say, you know, I think this topic is well made for this verdict. I'm going to say convenience foods are really just bullshit.
I like how he found time to compliment himself. He's like, it's a pretty good verdict. It's bullshit. I'm gonna go next, or you have to go next because you're the host.
Yeah, I'll go next. Yeah. And you know, it's funny because like we're talking about this. This is a sort of a weird one for me in that I am like, I've eaten the most convenient food of all of us. It's true that even in college days, I think Crofton's making his ham sandwich, which isn't really, you know, where I might eat in the pogo back then. And I still will go to those things often. So I'm kind of like, I use them often. I really think they're probably a bad thing. And not just for the health benefits, but the fact that I think, you know, we're losing that kind of what it means to cook food, what it means to prepare food. As I get older, I'm sort of finding value in stuff like slowing down, you know, appreciating the day-to-day ritual of just living, you know, which is something like cooking a meal, right? And looking at ingredients, seeing how they work together. I don't even love cooking, but I can appreciate that that's something probably we should all do more of. But that's not the world we live in. We live in one where no one has any time. You know, you got to fit all these things in. And so the role of convenience food is not going anywhere. So even though as much as I want to give this one bad, to be like the world would be better if we all worked less, had more time for cooking our food, knew how to balance our vices better so that we all spent more time cooking healthy meals for us, that would be better. I I just feel like I'd be too much of a hypocrite because I've eaten so much of these things. So I gotta have to just stick with. But it is bullshit, and I feel like hopefully before I die will have got to a point where I cook good food at least a couple times a week instead of just like once. So I'm gonna go with bullshit. I'm gonna echo Crofton's verdict. You know,
Son,
oftentimes it tastes like bullshit too.
Son, it looks like it's Soylent for you again. Honestly, today.
The Soylent, like I was talking with my wife about that, and she's like, and I was like, I'm gonna get some, man. And especially if I was single, I'd be all over that Soylent. I'd be like, I don't care what it tastes like. It's nutritionally balanced. It's better than any crap you're gonna put in your microwave for 90 seconds. In that sense, but
it fills you. The key is
my kid's not gonna eat Soylent.
It fills you. It fills you, Soylent.
Yeah, makes you feel full, gives you calories. You should look it up.
Report allegedly. None of us have tried it. We don't know, right? We don't even know anyone who does it.
The guys on Stuff You Should Know tried it, and they gave it a little review, and they're like, it's not that bad, and it makes you feel full, gives you your caloric needs.
And Mike's stock just cleared, so he can promo it completely ethically now. Buy Soylent Green.
Oh, I get it.
On my website.
All right.
I've not tried. It was more that it's funny because it's called Soylent. When I heard of this thing, I used to refer to it as, and I remember saying this to people before. I'm like, like my cat has cat kibble, or dogs I've had dog kibble. I'm like, why can't there just be human kibble, where you just have a big sack of something and it's the same thing you eat every day? I would just eat that stuff, and be like, it feeds you, keeps you healthy. You don't have to think. You just eat the fucking kibble and go about your business. That's what I want.
I agree. I agree. That's true.
Meanwhile, dogs are looking at your food and being
silos,
like, God damn it,
silos.
Why can't we have that delicious human food? We eat this shit
look at
all
what
the
I'm doing
time.
with my hands here. It's silo time. My verdict.
It's Bo's turn.
I'm stroking my silo. Okay, so the I have like things in the universe, and there's very little time to like the things that I like. And one of the biggest pains in the ass is preparing food and having to cook it like 3 times a day, or just even organizing where to get it, what to do with it, and all that shit, and it goes bad. I couldn't be more irritated. Yet I understand how important food is to a good life. Ask anyone who's a centennial or centenarian. What's a person that lives 100 years or more? Centenarian. They're always like, "What's your secret?" They're like,
"Fastest growing."
I ate good food. They always say. They always lay it at the feet of food. It's like, it seems like the key thing to living a long, cool life, and I couldn't be less interested. But I think that's a good thing. We want to be doing other things. I'm not going to dwell a lot on it, guys. Regular listeners, you know where I'm going with this. We're trying to become energy beings, or live in a hive mind, or dispose of some of the more irritating things our body needs, like we have to eat every day in order to be energetic and live full lives. I'd rather just have that without the need to eat, or plug myself into a power outlet for 2 minutes and then be fine. So we're working on that, and I think convenience foods is a step in that direction, but it's not a good one. We're not there yet. So I'm approving of a direction we go to where we don't need to eat, but can be energized in some alternative way that is much more convenient. We got to improve upon the human body. So while I think it's not there yet, I think the pursuit of convenience foods is a noble one. It's just its current iteration. It's more about cost savings and trash than it is about doing that, which I think the Soylent thing is the spirit of that. What if you could just drink something for 2 seconds and be done? Sounds great. So, in principle, I believe in the principles of convenience food. I say that it is good. Yeah, hive mind, baby. So
I can't believe you brought it back to that. Okay, listeners, if you would like to let us know what you think about convenience foods, please do so at your convenience.
Well done.
Get in touch with us. Go to our website, goodbadbull.com. From there, you can find all the ways to reach us, including email, goodbadbull@gmail.com. Please send us a note. We read it on the air. Send us a tweet at goodbadbull. You could like us on Facebook if you want to engage with us there. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, please do so. Google Play or iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. And we also have a Patreon account. Is that what you call it?
We've got a
and we have some
Patreon
lovely
account.
Patreon supporters who help keep the show going. And we really do appreciate their support. It's patreon.com/goodbadbull. I believe.
Yeah, and if you do support, you'll be joining the likes of some podcasting luminaries. We've got Ryan Murphy as a supporter. It's a big name in the industry. We got Scott Johnson as a supporter. You're in good company when you're supporting the Good, Bad, or Bullshit show. Just saying. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and even if you're not a famous podcaster, we really do appreciate your support. Every bit helps. You don't have to be famous.
Thanks, Bo's mom.
Exactly.
And my mom, by the way, big shout out to my mom, of all the moms, the most supportive of the moms here. Although they're all great, but she's a patron too.
Yeah, my mom doesn't care. Guys, if our listeners want to find out about your personal eating preferences, where can people follow you?
All right, follow me at Bo Schwartz to find out what I'm eating. When I'm opening my legendary or my veteran loot boxes and heroes, I have 70 loot boxes. Everyone wants to know when I'm going to stream it and open them, and I don't know yet.
That means nothing to me when you just said there.
I'm a loot box tycoon, Michael.
It's like an inside joke, but I'm not.
And also, you can find out other stuff. I take pictures of myself on occasion, and I'll post them on my Twitter.
Often, where can people find out
your face?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank God.
Not my dog.
Selfie. It's all the rave on the internet, Crofton.
I'll Snapchat it.
Maybe I'll even Facebook it. Okay, Crofton, where can people follow you?
They can follow me at their convenience at Crofton Steers.
See what he did there? At Crofton Steers.
On Twitter. It's Twitter.
And
don't follow me on Snapchat, just Twitter.
Yeah, Snapchat sucks. I've decided all social media sucks. What did I give that again? Was it probably just...
Really? When did you come to this conclusion? I mean, don't... It's big neuse. You changed your material all of a sudden.
But I hate it even more now, recently.
As you get older, watch his verdicts just get more and more extreme.
No, it's sort of like you can see the... It's not... I wouldn't call it extreme. It's the evolution of my brain. Anyways, okay. I'm at ML Hodgins. I'm still on Twitter for now, but I'm sure I'll quit that soon as well. I can't believe... Hold on. Bo brought his verdict back to the hive mind somehow. And I know that verdict is a topper. I cannot wait for it because there is so much I think he has not thought about that I cannot wait to talk about. And also, I wonder sometimes if Bo is like, you keep talking about the hive mind, Bo, but do you really just mean transhumanism?
Well, that's part of it. But the hive mind, I'm talking about the hive mind, sharing brain power, coexisting in a more intimate way with one another than we can possibly imagine.
Yeah, you've not thought about this. And anyways, we'll save it for the episode, but I can't wait.
I think you've not thought about this.
I'm like, I cannot wait.
I'm going to tap out right now. Tap.
I'm telling you, the hive mind will be great.
That episode, I feel like I should just like grab a bag of popcorn, just sit here and put my mic on mute, or maybe leave it on to annoy you guys, and just watch you go at it for
it's
like
funny
an hour.
because we've been building up this debate about the hive mind for like 100 episodes. It's like when you went to television and there's like a will she won't she that lasts like 6 seasons, and finally they bring the story to a head. That'll be the hive mind episode.
If it ever comes up, I don't know. I don't know if it's ever gonna at this point. The way things are going.
I mean, it's a random topic generator.
Mentioning it in every single goddamn episode. It's like his whole...
I believe in the dream of the hive mind. I don't believe
you've just given up on.
They always paint it badly in popular science fiction, like it's fraught with problems.
Stupid.
I like how when people say like, yeah, you know what, in all of history and in science fiction and everything, this X thing looks horrible or didn't work out, but this time it's going to work out for real.
But we've never had a hive mind, so we don't know with any certainty.
No.
And I'm sure the first time we do it, it'll be perfect. What could go wrong? Anyways, I do look forward to that one, but I enjoy how Bo used microwave convenience foods to somehow talk about that.
It inspired me about hive minds. What can I say?
The worst part is I feel bad for him that he's for sure going to die before it actually exists.
Actually, I find you guys both have these like, you're making fun of you're making fun of Bo, but you always go back to talking about
when society breaks down.
The structure of our world. And you're like, it's like we're in a it'd be really great to enjoy and the ingredients and the culinary experience, but our day-to-day world and the way that we've screwed up our world and it's always we could be talking about like Doritos, and you would find some way to make it about society is just screwed up.
Doritos is a symbol of our subservience and indoctrination to
look, as a reminder, let me just remind you again, who's the president of the United States. If you don't think society is screwed up, if you think you're like, oh, everything's perfect, we're great at governing ourselves, look who's the president of the free world. It's fucking idiots.
Well,
this is where we're at.
You are lamenting, whereas Bo is proposing a solution.
True. It's true.
However misguided
he's proposing a solution.
Wait for it.
I am doing what I do best as an I, which is straddle the fence between you D's and S's.
Remember, Hitler had a solution.
He was a D.
There it is.
It didn't work out that well for him.
It took him a while to think of it, but I knew it was coming. The follow-up to the rebuttal to at least Bo has a solution. Well,
lots of people have solutions.
Hitler among them, apparently. All right. Well, I think I'll probably exit the show on the Hitler line. That seems seems like a good.
They should always end on that.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to Jessie before she goes to bed, so I gotta let you guys go.
Can you hold for a second? All right. Just give me a minute. All right.
Oh yes.
Okay. So chat room. Thank you for some lively conversation in here. We're usually here every Thursday. Sometimes we miss a week because of Sens games or babies stuff. So
Crofton likes hockey, and we're often tired.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you for the actual compliments in today's chat. That's amazing. You guys are like super positive. I love it. So we try to do every Thursday. If there's no stream, there's usually a show that gets posted on our iTunes feed. So there's something. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Take care. Thanks for watching.
Oh yeah, thanks to listeners. I was watching the hockey. I apologize. Go Sens, go.
You guys are great. And yeah, goodbadbull.com for if you want to find out more about the show. Okay. Ta-ta for now.